Hello everyone, welcome to the 4 Horsemen tanking tutorial. We are doing the split tank tactic, which means
We did already. Go,
we
go, go,
are
get down.
putting
Sorry.
4 tanks onto the right
People
side,
asking me for food boats.
rotating
Go eat
between
now.
Morgraine and
Around
Zeliek.
10 seconds.
This doesn't concern me as I'm assigned to the left side, rotating between Thane
Alright, 10,
Cortas and Lady
9,
Bluma.
8,
As you see, I'm
7,
starting
6,
tanking
5,
on Thane,
4,
so
3,
let's see how we do.
2, 1.
The hunter
Let's go.
pulls. Thane and Morgraine are always pulled by hunters. Positioning, taunting it, taunt fails, but
4,
whatever.
3,
Shield slam does the
2,
job,
1.
moving it to the
Poison now.
spot.
Priest move.
Now, the Thane specific ability is Meteor, that means we all have to stack up tightly,
5,
but
4,
it is the
3,
DPS and healer's
2,
responsibility
1.
to
Poison
move
now.
with you,
Druids move.
not the other way around. Right, we need to
Just gonna do
make a
complete.
lot of aggro here,
3, 2,
and also stack up Sunders for
Poison
more
now.
damage, as there are
Absolutely.
high nukes on Cortas. That usually should be the first boss to go down. Okay, here we have the rotation at 3 marks.
Stack closer on thing.
We are
Poison
waiting
now.
for the meteor to hit. You always need to wait for the meteor, otherwise if it hits you on the way and you're alone,
Void zone.
it might
Recap.
kill you.
3, 2, 1. Void zone now.
Moving to the safe spot and targeting the tank in front of me in the rotation, which
Go
is
hard on mana
Jin.
healers. Go hard on
Waiting
mana.
for him to
You
get
won't
the
need it
third
to
mark on
One.
Lady
Void zone
Mlumo,
now, move.
and I'm gonna be moving there. When relieving, you always wanna go Berserker stance and intercept to
3,
make sure you hit
2,
the spot faster.
1. Really? Really, sorry.
Yeah,
Poison
no.
now.
The lady specific ability is Void Zone,
Okay.
which means
Just pop code on.
every time
Three,
Void Zone
2,
timer hits,
1.
we have
Void
to
zone
move.
now, move.
As you can see, I'm usually
Disarm.
starting to move
Demo shout.
even a millisecond before the Void Zone hits, just so in case it lands
1.
beneath
Poison
me,
now.
I am already moving and I don't even get one
Keep
tick
your
off
defensives
of the
up.
ability.
What is this?
Three,
Right, getting
This is the
relieved,
beginning.
moving back
One.
to the safe
Void zone
spot.
now, move.
DPS rotate.
Okay, no.
3, 2, 1. Void zone now, move.
Again, targeting the tank in front of me, but
You're-
waiting for
We are at map
3
two.
marks, and
We are going
that
to
should
relieve
collide with the meteor hit.
Three,
So after this
two,
mark and meteor,
One. Void zone now,
we are
move.
free to go
Relieve.
to relieve Jin.
I'm gonna need heal on Mograine. Thank you.
Important thing on these bosses is don't be afraid
New
to
move, healers.
use your cooldowns, and
Come over
also they all can be disarmed, so it's quite
Hey, Yoon, can you ping
quite
yourself
a
on
valid
the minimap?
ability to
3,
use in this
2,
encounter.
1. Poison now. Don't jump at the void zones.
Potions, new potions, guys. 3, 2,
One.
1. Void zone now, move. Like,
Really?
I personally prefer
From
to
voltage.
save my potion cooldown
I just experienced
for
something like that.
emergency,
Please call void
while the DPS should be popping Shadow
Ooh,
Protection
one,
Potion
poison
basically on cooldown. But as for
I'm going
tanks, we should kind of save it for health potion or even better swiftness potion in case
Three,
shit goes south
two,
and you need to
one.
catch a
Void
boss
zone
or
now,
something.
How's
It's
Thane
definitely
look
good
like?
to have access to it.
Group A, we have to move to Thane maybe. So.
Yes.
Right,
Three,
Cortas
two,
should be
two,
dying,
one.
so
Void
we
zone
won't
now.
be needing to
Really?
rotate to that one anymore,
Okay,
but we
up you
still
go.
have Lady
I'll
to
go on Zelia.
take care of.
Go, Grant.
Go, relieve them. Go. It's fine. Get back.
Definitely keep Demo
Poison
Shout
now.
up, it's basically free, and especially on these bosses where the DPS is not starting here, so you do not need to
Three,
max threat on
two,
Lady or
one.
Zeliek.
Void zone now.
You just need to survive.
On invisible. You cast this.
And that is definitely the hardest part on Lady,
Invisible Void
especially
Zone
with the
caster.
invisible void zones.
3,
I find it
two,
really useful to
one.
have an
Now.
add-on like
Open,
my
relieve.
scoring combat text
Invisible
that
Void Zone on
shows
me, I'm
me
dead.
all the
Invisible
incoming
Void Zone on
damage
me.
very clearly, so
Me.
if I get
Or
the
this is
void zone
three,
damage, I can
two,
see it very
one.
visibly.
Now. fine, so don't panic.
Ficone, I'm to your right, behind the pillar.
And
Okay,
Trier,
good.
you
Caesar's
gonna
got me,
relieve it?
Caesar's got me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Israel.
no more Cortas, so
Voids
we
on
should
now.
still stick to the rotation, which means
Void-
just
leave
tanks,
Void Zone and keep going.
relieve
Don't run over
whichever
the board,
tank
run around
is
it.
in front of you in the rotation. Do not mess it up. Unless called for, of course.
Now,
User in your channel timed out.
This skill seems
Release
rather
Sora.
clean, but
wow,
at
the
times
looks really nice.
it can be a lot more messy. And should tanks start
How
dying,
Voids on now.
you generally need
Release
to
Void Zone.
coordinate
Void
on
Zone.
TeamSpeak who goes where, and
Safe zone.
preferably have
Interior.
soulstones set up
Interior.
with combat resist.
Yeah, I have CDs.
No,
But as a general rule,
Void zone
like
is
if
dead.
a tank in front of your rotation dies,
I'm here now.
it means that whenever you get relieved, so for example, I'm tanking on Portas
popped every
and the
CD.
tank on Blue Maw dies. So generally it will mean
I got a new
that
It's gonna be fine.
as soon as I get relieved on Cortas and I'm free, I won't be rotating to the safe spot, but instead I will go straight to the next boss, which I'm supposed to tank, which is Blue Maw. This will of course differ depending on the situation, but eventually you will need to either rest the tanks up
Alright,
or
right behind
switch
you.
tanks
Right behind you.
around from one side to another, because if you're rotating over and over to the same boss, you will stack up the same kind of marks, and by like Mark 5 it's 5000 unresistable damage,
Thank you.
Mark 6 is 6000 or something like that. That's very hard to deal with even for a tank.
One. Void zone now move.
Yeah, 20.
So basically whenever you're going to a new boss, you should not have any marks
What is this shit?
from that
Do I really
boss.
have to give triple
One.
DKP? Come on.
Void zone now move. Yep, you do. And then quadruple Safir on one shot.
Just focus.
You kunnen goors, denk ik.
And then 5 times Scaffolds out one shot. 3.
It's gonna be more than 5 times.
We have some melees here, be careful with that, they are not stacking properly, they should basically stack up together and move together during
Okay, nice.
during the void zone time when it hits, because then it's getting really messy where the void zone is actually spawning.
Lucius stacks. Lucius Celiac stacks over here.
Okay.
Just don't take any more.
3,
Okay.
2, 1. Link. Good job.
Yeah, alright, so our bosses are dead, we are basically free now, but I'm still like on the lookout for should things go wrong, but
Guys,
seems like
stack
we should
2
be
by 2.
alright.
Stack 2 by 2, please.
So in case you were assigned for the other side, for the right side of the room, which is Morgraine and Zeliek tanking,
2.
Morgraine, the one who's in the bottom right corner, already dead, that one is basically the easiest because he only does some extra fire damage on each hit, but it's very manageable for tier 3 tanks to handle.
I'm good.
As for Zeliek, he does that yellow beam you will see. It's the same actually as Ketoon's beam. So for example, as you see now, it linked to like several people
That's
and
why I said. focus
possibly
on-
could have killed some
Like, we
casters.
have a lot of
3,
people standing there.
2,
It will target only one person, but if people are within the 10-yard range of each other, it will link to every person in the 10-yard range,
Move back.
and
move back.
the more links, the more damage each hit does.
Don't link the healers and casters. Come on.
So that's why
Good job.
we usually want to have
Okay, shield
maximum
will
1
go.
melee DPS on the boss,
2, 1.
and the casters have the max range to outrange the
You die?
I made a noob move.
outrange the ability, and healers are usually hiding behind the corner to line of sight it.
Okay.
Yeah, so only thing when going in and out from Zeliek, you have to
I'll be
wait
just
for the
waiting.
beam to hit, so that you do not link any healers or casters. Yeah, beam has hit.
Okay, now
I'm
we
free
can
to move
test.
out.
Come on.
Yeah, that would be insane.
And Ashram.
That is basically it for Horsemen.
And
It's-
what?
Thanks for watching.
It's a wipe, guys. Just wipe it.
Yeah,
Just
just
wipe
wipe
it. Just wipe it.
No, no, no.
Just
What?
stack up at Zilik. Everyone stack up
It
at
was
Zilik.
you said triple DKP.
Chaos one shot KT.
So will we.
Good job, guys. Really good.
Alright, I'm
Triple
gonna say, I'm
DKP
gonna
share.
say. Alright, incoming. It's tuning, rope, and Molotov Redeemed
Fucking
Crusader.
hell.
Oh,
This
rope.
shit.
Ooh.